storm, man.
Nobody calls Han Solo a bitch.
Bring him on. I prefer a straight fight to all the sneaking around.
I don't know where you get your delusions, laser brain.
Oh, come on, bro. It's the wars.
All right, so last week we started our housekeeping efforts, and this week's going to be no different. It's finally time we talk about Resistance. This is The Wars and More. I'm Joe, and of course with me is my good buddy Doug. Hey, Doug, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good, Joe. How are you doing?
I'm swell. So, Resistance.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
It has.
It's been a minute. The Rise of Skywalker and The Mandalorian, and
yeah, it definitely took a back seat to all of those.
yeah. And it's no secret. The show hasn't been our favorite.
Right. Yeah.
Not saying we didn't like it for what it was,
This is true.
but and especially when it's hitting on its strengths, which the last few episodes definitely did that.
Yeah. So leading up to the last few episodes, I gotta say, man, there was quite a bit of, I hate to use the term filler, but that's what it felt like. It felt like a lot of filler, like a lot of almost inconsequential stuff going on, stuff that really didn't play into everything as a whole. And it didn't really even develop characters, especially Kaz, as well as it could have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I felt like for a while there, Tam was taking more of a back seat than she should have, because to me, that was the major thread you established in the show,
Yeah.
was Tam's defection and her conflict, the self-doubt about whether she made the right choice or not.
Right. Yeah. I chuckle because that's something that in some of these episodes that I described as filler, there would be some interaction with the First Order, and Tam would find out something about the Colossus or whatever, and then she'd always just get that furrowed brow look on her face like she's struggling with this. But I don't know how it seemed like the reaction was the same every time, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's
There was no development.
exactly. That's my point. It was just, let's move this on to the next level here. That's so. And if I have any like major complaints, that's it, because I agree with you. This would have been like the your major stride here, right? You go for this story arc because it is what is most important overall.
And honestly, the most interesting in this series.
Yes.
It is. Tam's arc was, I think, by far the most interesting arc in this series.
Absolutely.
And I would have liked to have seen more from Tam. The last few episodes, you got tons of it, and the show was very good.
Yeah.
I'd say the last 4
Right.
was very good.
Yeah.
A lot of Tam, a lot of her struggle, and then, advancement of that struggle, and then resolution.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like that's something they honestly could have drawn out a little bit. It felt a little rushed.
It was
From
a little rushed. From where she was, where I described her getting that. Yeah. Because it was mainly, for a long time, it was mainly Kaz being clumsy Kaz. I think he's referred to as a Kaz-tastrophe at one point in the show. But,
Yeah.
And it was a lot of that. And you get the little snippets of her struggling with what she's doing. Every time leading up until this last, I'd say 4-episode arc or whatever, she's making the decision to move further and further into the First Order. Even though
but you're not even really getting that, like.
Well, I mean, this happened a long time ago. They brought up the comm link, right? She
Right.
gave that to Tierney, and that's the sort of thing I'm talking about, right?
But that was like the biggest commitment she made, like, was handing over that comm link.
True.
And that was what?
That was a long time ago.
The first episode?
Yeah.
Of season 2?
Might have been.
Tam was put into stasis from episode 1 until, like I said, damn near the last 4 episodes.
Right.
She was put in this, static holding pattern.
Yeah.
And I understand, it's a kid's show.
This is
They wanted
true,
it to
but-
be lighthearted and goofy, things like that. But there's no reason why you can't tell that story at the same time as doing all that.
Yeah, and so you're talking about like development of the character of Tam. I think that character got the most development when Kaz and Yeager were talking about her, and Yeager tells the whole backstory of her on the Colossus. She came there with a ship to race, lost the ship, and Yeager didn't want to give her the fireball and have her take off with it, kind of thing. It was like, wow, that's like an interesting direction. You guys should have like went down that road.
Yeah, what was that? That was the last 2 episodes, right?
Exactly, the double episode. Yeah,
the double episode. That was when they told that story.
Yeah, and
on arguably the second most important character of the series.
Yes. And
if not, in my opinion, I understand Kaz was, the lead of the series, but
sure,
I don't feel like Kaz was the most interesting character in the series. I feel like that goes to Tam.
Yeah,
Tam had the most. You wanted to know more about Tam, and I never felt like that with Kaz. But maybe that's because they were giving backstory information on Kaz so freely.
Yeah, but only to a certain degree, right? There's like story threads that they could have yanked on a little bit that I think would have been far more interesting than some of the stuff that they went into, even with Kaz. There's this whole thing with him working with the Resistance against his father's wishes. That's something that it could have dove a little deeper into. I understand his dad's gone at this point. The First Order blew up Hosnian system, and
No, didn't he survive?
did he?
I thought so. I thought Kaz got a transmission from him
Oh, maybe I forgot about
after they were off world or something like that.
that. Okay, but still, yeah, that would make it even easier to do what I'm saying then, because it's kind of like the child not choosing the path that the parent thinks is best for him. That's
The rich kid turned flyboy.
kind of that's a classic story trope, and they could have explored that a little bit. I think it would have been better storytelling, at least for the character of Kaz.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's obviously not the direction they wanted to go, was like, deep storytelling. They wanted a kid's show that was, funny and, action packed.
Yeah, they definitely wanted Kaz for sure to be the
class clown,
I guess, yeah, because all the way up, even through these last episodes, they're sneaking around a Star Destroyer and stuff, and he's still got the Scooby-Doo walk kind of thing, and
yeah,
and when they get shot at, he's the one kind of reacting wildly.
Yeah, flailing his arms. Ah!
Exactly. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that kids are meant to identify with him for the humor.
Yes.
So, okay, I get it. But with this being Star Wars, I kind of expect it just to go a little deeper. And it's, I don't know, we've said it for a long time, right? You don't have to dumb it down for younger kids because they're smarter than we realize they are.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. If they can run an iPad.
Yeah, exactly. So one thing that, we touched on this before we started recording, and we both agree here. You said it. The space battles in this was awesome.
Unbelievably good, especially in these last couple episodes.
Yeah.
Unbelievably good. Very entertaining. Very edge of your seat, even though this show definitely set the tone that nothing's going to happen to your hero, your core group of heroes here.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still edge of your seat fun.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, really would have liked to have seen more of that. Would have liked to have seen more of the racing.
Yeah. Yeah, although I will say I do like the idea that these racers, when called upon, alter their perspective, I guess, to defense when necessary. So, when this show first came out, we talked about the airplane racers. They instead of the rings, they have these pylons that they have to fly through and stuff.
Right.
And all of that comes from these pilots from like back in World War II, right? They came back, they still wanted to fly. So what do you do now, kind of thing. So
right.
And I like the idea of they're keeping their skills sharp, and when they're called upon for the defense of the Colossus, they're ready to go. It's kind of cool.
Which, I mean, there's two of the aces, right, that were combat pilots?
I believe so.
So two of your aces are combat pilots. So it makes sense. You talk about like the war's over. What do we do now?
Yeah.
Well, I like flying. I'm good at flying.
Exactly.
So yeah, I dug it.
Yeah.
Definitely dug the flying. All series long. Whenever they were in their ships, that's when this show was hitting good.
Yeah.
So
yeah. There was some other stuff that, what was his name? Rutledge? Was that his name? The blonde-haired TIE pilot. He takes out
the Ruckland.
Ruckland. There we go. He takes out one of the transports.
Yeah.
Tam gets promoted. That kind of
Yep.
stuff. It's I understand why.
Well, yeah, that's the hierarchy, right?
Exactly.
You know, it's
the command structure for sure.
Yep. So she was in command.
Yep.
Something went well.
Yep.
The accolade goes to the commander.
But
welcome to the real world, kid.
yeah. So I guess that's part of what they were trying to go for with her struggle of what she was finally seeing the First Order doing is like that ship was a transport ship. It had no weapons. You know,
right.
That's why it needed the what do you call it? The security detail along with it. And that kind of stuff just I don't know how I feel if it was like she should have like realized that a lot sooner, or if they could have dove deeper into it or something. I don't know. It just seemed a little, just kind of scratching the surface a little bit on that,
Well, the transport thing I didn't see as like a good example of a learning moment for Tam in that situation. Yes, it's unarmed, right?
Yep.
But you're fighting a war, and this is a transport ship of future combatants.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like, well, those are innocent people.
Yeah, they're not gonna be once they're trained up.
They're in. This is a war, and they are literally being escorted because they're joining the resistance.
Yeah,
they're
your enemy.
They're signing up to kill you.
Yeah.
So that being the learning point, I don't really get that. The good one was when they decided to fire on that planet with the massive Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
And wipe out a bunch of people. That was a targetless assault. That was just blow it all up.
Yeah. True.
And with that, you're attacking innocents, women, children. You're not destroying a shuttle of would-be combatants.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. That is the bigger blatant example, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't know about what's your plan there? You're gonna try and capture these transports amidst a firefight. I understand if you were up against just the transports.
Yeah.
And they just destroy these transports when they obviously can just tractor beam them in, right? They do it later in the show with Kaz and Yeager.
Yep.
So, yeah. I thought that was a bad example.
Yeah.
I mean, you signed up for war, kid.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right, because it could have. I guess where I'm coming from with that was when she says, "Aren't they unarmed?" And it's just turned back around on her like, "What do you care?"
Yeah.
It's like the explanation you just gave would have been like 10 times better. These are future combatants against you. They're going to be trained to kill you. We're going to, snuff them out before they can.
Yeah, I mean, this shows the bad command structure of the First Order.
Yes. Absolutely. I will say this too. As we moved along further and deeper in these later episodes, I started feeling like, Tierney and Pyre, they're not that great at what they do.
No, because if one of them would have turned to Tam and says unarmed, they're armed with the desire to sow chaos,
Right.
the desire to continue war.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
Yeah, bad leadership.
totally. So, what'd you think of
This
our?
is why they failed.
What'd you think of our Kylo Ren cameo here?
I thought the voiceover work was very weird.
Uh huh.
Other than that, I thought it was cool.
Okay. How do you like him over the hologram, forcing Tyranny and Pyre to point their blasters at each other?
Oh, I thought that was awesome.
That was kind of cool, wasn't it?
I thought that was awesome. This is the shot across the bow, like you cannot do anything against me.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't fail me, because you're not going to like it, and I'm going to do something to make you really not like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah, I feel like if it was in film and not a kid's show, like he probably would have had them pull them blasters on themselves.
Yeah, exactly. At first, I thought that's what they were going to do.
Yeah, that's what I was looking
And it
at. I
was
was like,
like,
oh, wow, he's
whoa.
going to make them put their guns to their own heads. And then he
Yeah.
did that. I was like, oh, that's actually even better.
Right.
Like, I actually like that even more.
Yep. And then, right at the end, Kylo Ren, speaking over the hologram with Tyranny, starts to choke her out, and then the Star Destroyer blows up anyway. I thought, wow, it was. I get what you're doing there.
I feel like she was already dead by the time the Star Destroyer blew up.
You think so? Because
Oh, yeah.
it was like awful quick succession. You know, I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, you think of how long it took people to, die when Vader did it.
it's
It
true.
really didn't take that long.
It's true. You're right. And that's the other
Now,
thing.
I will
right?
say this: Kylo Ren's no Vader with this,
True.
because Vader always had like good lines for that stuff.
Absolutely.
Apology accepted.
Yeah. Yes. I do like the fact that we got to see Kylo doing that sort of thing, though, because
Yes.
in the films we never did.
No, never.
Not really. I mean, yes, he stopped a blaster bolt, but it was this kind of stuff. The
You preempted me on that one.
it's this kind of stuff. You get that really uneasy feeling about Vader, because all it takes is one mistake. So
Yeah, like that was, and the hologram thing was always cool with Vader because, he finishes the conversation with one officer, turns around, the other officer shows up on the screen. And you failed me for the last time.
yeah,
So I always liked that. It always made him so menacing,
absolutely.
and showing that failure leads to you're dead was what made him so menacing. Because he was a menace not only to the rebellion, but his own people.
Absolutely. I mean,
You
that
didn't want to fail that guy.
no, it goes right along with the theory, I guess you could say, that you had this top-down kind of policy, I guess, because you hear Tarkin talk about it. Fear is what's going to keep the systems in line. Fear of this battle station, right?
Right.
It's that same sort of sentiment. It's going to be fear. If everyone's
That's going to
afraid
keep
of us,
even your own troops in line.
exactly.
Yep. Yeah. To see Kylo Ren do that finally
Yeah,
was awesome.
yeah,
And one of the real good connections that this show brought.
yes, totally.
The connections to the saga films. Because there wasn't a ton of that. There was always like background banter about it.
Yeah.
And even some foreground banter, but banter is what it amounted to.
Yeah.
Talk. This is what's happening here.
Exactly.
There was not much actual interaction in the timeline. And then noticeably absent because, yeah, she dead now. Phasma.
This is true. Yes.
Phasma makes a nice quiet exit from this show in line with the timeline as the show progressed.
Yeah. It's a good point because she was pretty prevalent early on. Yeah. So my next question is, what do you think of Doza and his change of heart towards the end? Because he was always looking to kind of like run away, find somewhere safe. And then finally it's like, okay, no more running. We're gonna fight. I mean,
I think it's the obvious progression there.
Yeah.
Because you run, you get caught. You run, you get caught. You run, you get caught. Eventually, you just got to be like, you know what? Screw it.
I guess if it were me in Doza's shoes, I think I would have to say, okay, that's it. I'm gonna turn around and we're gonna fight this out a lot sooner than he did. Is what I'm getting at, because it started to get a little on the old side for me. Of him.
Well, I think that's an easy decision to make if it was just you.
I get it. You have the responsibility of all, but that meeting that he held, I'd have held that meeting a long time ago.
Well, and it was a weird progression because in that whole arc there, he was still contemplating running, even though shortly before that, when his wife returned, he said he was done running.
Yeah.
I guess he was just done running as far as like running from helping and getting involved at all. He was still going to run, if they ever found him, but he was going to help when he could.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a little strange the way that kind of played out, because he says in, like 4 or 5 episodes before the end, I'm done running, and then he runs again.
Yeah,
or contemplates running again. Before being talked into it, like, hey, you just gonna let them die over there?
Yeah. I don't know. For me, that part of his character kind of seemed dragged out a little bit. To where, or we knew he was with the Empire, okay? Dig into that a little bit. Give us a reason for him to act this way. Not just the fact that he used to be in the Empire. He was I forget it. We did know his rank. I forget his rank now. But
yeah, I forget.
But, something happened, right? In the Empire. When he was in the Empire and he couldn't live with it, and he wanted no part of any of that kind of stuff. Give us that reason. But, just the fact that he was in the Empire, there's a lot of former Imperials that were, giving clemency or whatever you call it. They're able to just move on and live their lives after the second Death Star was destroyed and all the cleanup actions.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like there needed to be something a little bit deeper there. But
yeah, in
the end, right? It was all, you kind of got your little Return of the Jedi style celebration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Finally, we see a Star Wars celebration over drinks.
Yeah, yeah, this is true. Uh, it,
I think that most resembles the real world, you know?
yeah, for sure. So I will say, for me, and I had a feeling it was going to be like this, but it ended off with a bang.
Mhm.
I think there was a lot of slow areas throughout the middle sections of both seasons. So
Okay, well, I mean, this is an easy thing to do and an easy thing to turn to when you wrap something up. But I think it's a hard thing to talk about at the same time. What with the history with the Clone Wars and with Rebels and the rewatchability of those shows, how do you think this show ranks in rewatchability?
low.
Low?
Yeah. I got to be honest. I'm not sure that well, as of right now, I have no plans to go back and rewatch. I'll say that.
Right. I think I do think honestly those last few episodes, I could see myself rewatching those.
Sure.
I found those to be super enjoyable, a lot of fun, real good sequences and things like that, and even fight sequences with them on the Star Destroyer.
Yep.
I thought were very enjoyable.
That was very, very reminiscent of Han, Luke, and Leia on the Death Star.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. Yeah, I agree there. Just not
yeah,
sure.
I could definitely see myself rewatching those.
I'm
In all
just-
honesty, I could see myself rewatching the beginning of season 2 and the end of season 2
yeah,
and just skip in the middle.
yeah.
Because I won't lie, I thought the middle was very dry.
It
I
definitely.
mean, it had
was.
a few moments, but not many.
No. We talked about some of the ones that we thought were headed down the right track, and it just took a left turn. The Sith artifacts and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean those moments just kind of lost their allure because they just got forgotten about.
Yeah,
It seemed like you were building up to something, and then you just didn't even reference it in the next episode.
exactly.
Like not even a mention. So yeah, but all in all, the show was enjoyable, and don't regret watching it.
No,
So, but could have done a lot more, especially with Tam. I that's the one thing I won't let go. I think there was so much to be done with Tam that just got left on the table.
I totally agree. I feel that way about a lot of characters on the show. I do think you're right about Tam's arc was probably the biggest one that they could have done so much more with.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I agree. I think there was a lot of I don't know, a lot of threads that they could have pulled on. They just let hang there. So
Right. Yeah, I mean, the Tam was a character that I definitely latch onto as my favorite character of the series. Not because Tam is so good at this or so good at that, but because Tam's story was just interesting. You wanted to know more about her. And yeah, I don't think there was any other characters in the show with maybe the exception of Yeager
yeah, he's another
that
one.
I latched onto with like wanting to know so much more about them.
Totally agree.
So, yeah. See, any more thoughts on Resistance before we wrap this up?
No, I think I've said my piece. I guess if you're looking for some, Star Wars in the meantime, and you haven't seen it, it'll be on Disney Plus. Season 2 will be on there soon, as I understand it. Give it a try.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the watch. You may find tons of things you like in there. There are things to latch onto.
Yeah.
Have something to add to the conversation, or you just want to let us know how we're doing? Email us, show@thewarsandmore.com. That's the best place to get in on the action. But if social media is a little more to your liking, @TheWarsandMore on Twitter is always a good place to interact with us. And we're also on Facebook, facebook.com/TheWarsandMore. And of course, your portal to this and everything else, The Wars and More, is thewarsandmore.com. Okay. So, John Williams, the man, the maestro, won a Grammy.
Awesome.
Not surprising, he's won 25 of them.
Yeah, right. I was going to say, okay, got to find room for this other one now. Yeah,
Yep.
That's really cool, though, I got to say.
Yeah. It's pretty wild. Like I was looking at the stats, and he's been nominated for 71 Grammys.
Which is
71.
Amazing.
I mean, so when you think about that, like his win percentage is kind of crap. But
okay, but I really think about it.
Yeah.
How many musicians are there out there? How many? And
how much is that? How much of that is like, we can't give it to John Williams every year?
I'm sure there's some of that too, because if you really think about it, they probably could.
Yeah, because if you think about the stuff that's lost, right? Like he didn't win for Jurassic Park. He didn't win for Harry Potter.
Uh-huh.
Harry Potter. I mean,
yeah.
So he didn't win for Revenge of the Sith. He didn't win for Return of the Jedi.
Right. Or Episode 1.
Yeah. So,
I mean,
yeah, there's got to be a little bit like, we can't just keep giving them to John.
Yeah, exactly. That's.
We got to be fair.
I'm sure there's got to be some of that going on because he probably could walk.
I mean,
away with
let's
it every
give
year.
these people Grammys because he's already taking their jobs.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Yeah, we got the movie shot. Okay, we just need to score it. Oh, John's busy. Okay, we'll wait. I mean, I don't know.
But 25 Grammy Awards, and I'm pretty sure none of those have been for a theme park.
I believe you are correct. It is kind of an amazing thing, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's won for movies,
Lots
the
of
Olympics,
movies. Right?
And now Galaxy's Edge. So, yeah, he won the Best Instrumental Composition with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Symphonic Suite.
That is pretty amazing.
Pretty amazing. A theme park won a Grammy.
Well, John Williams won the Grammy.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
A theme park score
right.
won a Grammy. I forgot a word. See what happens when you leave a word out?
It changes the whole meaning. But yeah, that's really cool. And it's kind of odd to think about because yes, it is theme park music.
Yep. So, not surprising though. The man is amazing.
That is for sure.
So, definitely amazing enough that we gush over him all the time on this show. So,
yeah, we do. But it's warranted because he is the man.
Well, I mean, I don't own a lot of movie soundtracks, but I think most of them are John Williams.
Yeah. Yeah. That is for sure.
And I can say this for sure. The only movie soundtracks that I own that are not Star Wars are John Williams movie soundtracks. So
they're all John Williams soundtracks. I got it. Gotcha.
no. I own some non-John Williams soundtracks that are Star Wars soundtracks.
Oh, okay. I see.
I own a soundtrack for Solo.
I see
Rogue
what you're
One.
saying. Yeah. See,
So.
I had that programmed in my head though. If it's Star Wars, it's John Williams. There is more than that. I get it, but yep. Okay.
It's not, but he does guest on them. You know?
This is true. And if nothing else, has inspired the composers that have been blessed to work on Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of his music does show up in these.
Yep.
All right. Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Well, we were all excited. We got this big announcement. Ewan's coming back. Kenobi's going to be a thing. It's going to be on Disney Plus. And delayed.
Yeah. So honestly, okay, I will say this. So last week there were rumors that this was going to happen. This delay was going to happen, and these rumors were really kind of shaky at that point. So I was going to bring it up for us to talk about, but then I thought better of it because these sort of things never really pan out. And of course, since we didn't talk about it, it does pan out, and it is true.
Yep.
Okay. But, yeah, it looks like the Obi-Wan series is going to be pushed back for a little while.
I'll say this. It's amazing because this is kind of welcome at the same time, because I think the first stuff I saw, the first leaks were saying that the series was going to be canceled.
Yes.
Like it's done. It's falling apart.
Yeah.
And it's like, no.
I think some of that has to do with how the film crew and stuff was kind of unceremoniously kind of told, you don't have a job anymore.
Well, that, and it's how especially like entertainment news writing is done these days.
Yeah.
A lot of it is the sky is falling, the world's undone. The most sensationalist crap you can.
That's not just entertainment news. That's all news ever.
It's all news, but entertainment news turns it up to 11.
Yeah, I get you. I
mean, I was reading some articles about Ozzy Osbourne a few weeks ago, right? That he was, not doing so well, having some health problems, right?
Yep.
And then it wasn't even like a couple hours later, I won't even name the outlets. Let's just say they're not very good at not doing this kind of crap. But their article comes out and says Ozzy Osbourne's on his deathbed.
Oh, really?
I was like, what?
Wow.
Like, I heard he just wasn't feeling well. And then, Kelly Osbourne comes out and says, yeah, he's just not feeling good.
Nice.
He's fine. He's still talking about a tour.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of crap you got to deal with in entertainment.
Yeah, it is true. There are things that can happen that I guess we're not always we we don't get to see all the behind the scenes goings on that lead to certain things happening.
Which is one thing I can promise you we will never do here. We will never jump on one of these sensationalist. We try to take the time to sift through the BS.
We sure do try, but when you say never, we got to be careful with that because
well, we will never sensationalize it.
Right.
We might bring up something someone else's.
Yes. We're
never
never
reporting, but we will never be the ones to turn it up.
There you go. Yeah.
That's horse crap.
Well,
our pride's more important than likes.
So this is the the facts that we have for this right now is that this has been pushed back.
Yes.
What are the rumors that go along with it then? Let's dig in.
The rumors that go along with it was, well, first I saw that they just didn't like what was written. And everything that was written has been tossed aside.
Right.
Okay. There are comments that lead me to believe that that's not necessarily the case now. Because there's some comments from Ewan McGregor. He says it's just slid to next year. That's all. The scripts were really good. Now that episode 9 came out and everyone at Lucasfilm has got more time to spend on the writing, they felt they wanted more time to write the episodes. So it sounds like they wanted to, okay, our attention is no longer divided. Let's sit back down, refocus our efforts, and make sure we're putting out the best product. That's not saying what they had was no good.
Okay.
I kind of take that as they just want to make sure that they're heading the right direction and everything that is going to be cohesive. Now, the dismissal of a writer and bringing in another writer, on the other hand, says that maybe they don't like, maybe the first scripts were good. Okay, they like those.
Yeah.
Maybe the direction they were going with the next couple, they didn't like.
Okay.
So maybe they're keeping that, what they had for the first two, and going a different direction with the rest of them.
It's a possibility. Gotcha. Now, I have heard there's supposedly leaks on what these stories were supposed to be. And, we can get into that or not, but to kind of sum things up a little bit, I had heard rumors of this story resembling the Mandalorian's story too much, which I kind of find a little hard to believe. Like, there was talk of it,
mirroring it too much. How?
Well, like Obi-Wan watching over Luke on Tatooine, much the same way the Mandalorian is watching over Baby Yoda. I just can't see that, we have no evidence of Obi-Wan being that close to Luke throughout his time on Tatooine. I mean, he knows of Ben. He's probably run into Ben before, but they were not like it wasn't like they were tight,
Yeah.
So,
I mean, is there like an episode where like Obi-Wan's getting whooped on by a crate dragon and baby Luke force bitch slaps him?
Yeah, maybe something like that. So, you really got to take some of these rumors, I guess, with a grain of salt, because a lot of it sounds more like somebody's fan fiction than reality sometimes. So,
Yeah, there's always a lot of that.
yeah. I had heard another rumor that there was I forget the Jedi's name now. He went to Tatooine, disguised himself as a Tusken Raider, and lived among the Tusken Raiders after Order 66. Finds out about Luke, okay, senses his presence, becomes fearful that will draw the Empire to Tatooine. So then, from his own fear, decides to take Luke out, and Ben has to step in. And there's this, battle of Jedi, but one acting in fear, the other, Obi-Wan, acting to save Luke. Yeah, more interesting of a story.
That's a whole lot of irrational thought from a Jedi.
Right. This is true. So.
Oh no, this kid's gonna get me caught.
Yeah.
I got a plan.
Kill
the kid.
Exactly.
I mean, how did that work out for the last Jedi that did that?
You mean the movie The Last Jedi?
No. No. I mean, the guy who became Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, that. Well, at that point, he's kind of like in charge.
I mean, if that's the thought process he's got, oh no, this is happening. I should kill this kid. I mean, maybe you should just go to the Empire and want to work for him. Because that's your line of thinking now.
Well, I mean, Yoda says it, right? Fear, anger, fear, right? Hate. Yep. So, but I don't know. I'm hoping that we're going to see something.
I mean, but I don't know why he just doesn't okay, yeah, whatever happens over there, whatever. Jedi have a force switch, that they can just turn the force off.
Right.
It worked for Luke. It worked for What's-Her-Face in Fallen Order. So you can just turn it off, man. It's you don't need to use it.
Yeah.
Just flip the switch and you'll never get caught.
Yep.
So, yeah. Thought. Worked for Kanan.
Yeah. Of course, Kanan spent most of his time at the bar, I think. So that was a good way to keep that switch flipped.
Yep. Nothing shuts the force off like whiskey.
Right. I like that idea. That's good.
I don't know. See, I don't understand that. Because if I were in Kanan's shoes, my ability to think rationally and not go if I go drinking like that and I got the force, I mean, I'm going to do dumb stuff with the force. So this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm going to win some money.
Yep. Oh, yeah? Watch this. That's yeah. That's funny.
Just saying.
But I guess I would like to see the I don't want to say interaction, but the Luke Skywalker stuff having to do with Obi-Wan, kind of it's there, but it's not in the forefront.
It's got to be background, man.
I would think so too.
You can't have Luke stomping around with Obi-Wan. I mean, that would just kind of take out, Luke knows of old Ben.
Yeah.
But he doesn't it's not like they were pals.
Exactly. That's, he runs into him every now and then at Tashi Station.
Right.
Ben needs power
they
converters.
They both
too.
power converters,
Exactly. I love it. Yeah. I mean, that's the way I feel about it, I guess, is that Obi-Wan has to be able to have his own quote unquote adventures while still laying low, maybe getting a little close to that, well, this is getting a little out in the open for me, and he's got a back off kind of thing. And all while, yes, keeping an eye on Luke, but not interfering too much with Luke. So,
yeah. I kind of like the stuff that you saw in Detours, where he's like, he's got the table and he's moving the ball around. You see that? You're doing that with the Force.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's so much more to tell than just Obi-Wan and Luke.
I agree.
I don't think that can be too much of a story. Obi-Wan's watching Luke from a safe distance.
Yes.
Allowing himself to be, kind of slandered by, Luke's uncle.
Yeah, well, absolutely. That was the other thing I was going to say is that if he was too close to Luke, I think Owen Lars would be a problem for him then. So, in order to avoid that...
Much more than being called a crazy old wizard.
Exactly. So, yeah.
There would have been much more. You just stay away from him.
Right. Yes. If I ever see you, there's going to be problems.
Yep.
So.
I'm going to turn you over to that Tusken Raider guy over there that wants to kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any huge warning bells, here. Nothing crazy that says, sound the alarm. This series is in trouble.
No, nothing like that.
I think this is just stuff that happens in the background all the time on projects, and it's Star Wars, so it's getting more attention.
Yeah, of course.
Especially with TV projects,
Oh, yeah.
I am seeing that the series is being reduced from 6 episodes to 4.
Yep.
But who knows what that means? Are they 4 longer episodes?
I would imagine they're going to have to be a little longer. I would say at least around the hour mark.
Yeah, I think this series is going to have longer individual episodes just for the sake of saving you from the boring episode.
Yeah.
Because this is going to be a series that's going to be really deep storytelling. It's not going to be action packed. There's not going to be wall to wall action here. You just can't have that.
Yeah.
He's trying to lay low,
Yeah.
So it's going to be a different type of story. And if you stretch that out too much episodically, you are going to have very boring episodes.
Yes.
Maybe not boring for everyone. Us hardcores are probably going to soak that up. We would probably really enjoy some deep philosophical type Obi-Wan storytelling.
Sure.
But the average viewer is going to be like, yeah, that was boring.
Yeah.
I'm good.
I think so. Some of this, there have been rumors as well that, and we talked about this a while back, that some of this might deal with Obi-Wan's PTSD from the war, right? The Clone War. And, that kind of stuff could, that really heady kind of stuff, it could, they gotta make sure they're doing it right, because that could appeal to a lot larger audience or not, depending on how it's done. And, it's got to be done in a way that is ultimately Star Wars.
So, I don't know how I feel about an Obi-Wan story kind of having him deal with PTSD.
I I'm with you.
Well,
it's just the rumors that I've been hearing.
just because of the whole Jedi and attachment thing. Okay, like he's supposed to already be at peace with
what
that
happened.
kind of stuff.
Yes.
Not worried about the fear of loss. So all that loss shouldn't weigh on him too much. The whole rejoice for those who turn into the Force,
Yes. Yes.
So if he is battling that too much, I think Obi-Wan's a character we can't see battle the dark at this point in the game. And something like, PTSD would be borderline him battling the dark side.
Yeah.
Because if he lets that bother him and he lets that drive emotion, that's really going to push him towards the dark.
It's funny you bring it up like that because you're right. It's exactly the kind of thing that the Jedi are warned against their whole life.
Yes.
We see Yoda counseling Anakin on this very subject in episode 3. And I would say that at this point in his life, Obi-Wan is well versed in that view the Jedi have of how to deal with all that. It's
agreed. And he can't be in episode 4, 5, and 6 with pom-poms rooting on the ways of the Jedi if he's just been battling PTSD for the last 30 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not 30 years, but
the
last 20 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't see that.
If
You would think he would turn to Yoda and go, "Whoa, dude, the crap I went through over all that, like maybe he's on to something here with maybe let's not."
Well, I guess the point, as you kind of alluded to it, is that if you go down the PTSD route, you have to go down the possibility of going down the path to the dark side route, because that's got to lead that way.
Yeah, it has to, because
the Force is
only
in play.
your emotion would drive that.
Yeah. And Jedi are supposed to be detached from emotion, at least to a certain degree. I mean, obviously, walking away at Mustafar, Obi-Wan was upset.
Yeah,
but
for sure. And no doubt, he's going to have to battle some kind of demons.
Yeah.
Because he's got to fight to keep himself on the path.
Yeah.
I mean, being on that path doesn't come without effort, but it can't be the focal point of the story.
I agree.
He's got to come to resolution with this stuff in a decent time frame in order for him to keep his head.
I think we're onto something, Joe.
No, I'm really just saying, in order for him, he can't be for 20 years, fighting this.
No, I'm
and not even for I can't even say it would. He can't even fight it for a year's time.
Okay.
I think that would be too much time.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this.
Anakin lost control in 20 minutes, dude.
Yeah. I'm remembering back to the end of Revenge of the Sith. Right? Obi-Wan walks away on Mustafar. He's obviously clearly upset. And everything that happens subsequently, meeting up with Yoda and Organa, Bail Organa, and going to the Jedi Temple to turn off the the transmission, seeing Anakin. Wait, no, that was before.
Yeah.
But even.
But let's think
So-
of
so-
how that
but-
played out before that.
Okay.
You know, Obi-Wan says, "Send me to fight the Emperor.
Right.
I can't kill Anakin."
Right.
Yoda says, "Well, strong enough you're not, you know.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I fear you're not strong enough for the
The Emperor. Right.
And Obi-Wan's just like, "Okay." Like he got over that quick.
Yeah. But
And he struggles with it during the fight, but he also resolves himself.
yeah. And afterwards, when they're discussing what to do with the children, that's where you see this kind of clarity come over Obi-Wan, right? He's Bail Organa says, we'll take the girl. We've always wanted a daughter. Obi-Wan says, I'll take the boy to his family and I'll watch over him. This is going to be my new mission.
Yoda says, to his family on Tatooine.
Yeah.
And he says, I'll go watch over him.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So there's a resolve there.
Yes.
So the only thing that I think, I don't know, even still, if there's, reports of horrific things that he sees Darth Vader doing in the meantime, and he feels like that's his fault, I still can't see him blaming himself, because by the time we reach episode 4, he's got a pretty clear way of looking at things, right? Darth Vader killed Anakin.
Well, I mean, he even did tell Anakin, though. He's like, I have failed you.
Sure.
He does blame himself.
Sure.
But I don't think he blames himself in a manner that is going to result in him having nightmares that, haunt him. I don't know. I could be wrong. They could do this in a way that proves me completely wrong.
They would have to step delicately about this, because if this is a path that they want to go down, storytelling wise, they want to touch on the PTSD thing. Like I said, they are going to have to do it in a way that's going to appeal to a broader audience. I'm talking broader audience, like the kind of audience we have with The Mandalorian. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then also have it make sense with a Force user, a Jedi in particular.
Yeah.
And everything that we know about their ways and how they've been taught. So, because they are well aware, I'm sure Star Wars fans will call them out on a lot of the stuff that we've already just touched on. Because, if
I think the struggle you're going to see more with Obi-Wan is him keeping himself out of it.
Yes.
Allowing the amount of turmoil and suffering to happen.
Yes. Yep, I agree with that.
I think that's going to be the crux of what is going to be Obi-Wan's struggle, is knowing that all this bad stuff is happening around the galaxy and he really can't risk getting himself involved right now.
Exactly.
There is a bigger plan here.
Yep. And
his little bit of headstrongness that he does have, because he learned that from Qui-Gon, is going to get him involved in some stuff he maybe shouldn't.
Right.
But does anyway. Yeah.
And
that's what I think you're going to see a lot of.
I think we could even see some close calls with if he has to actually use the Force and whatever, like, has to do something and help some people out somehow, and he has to use the Force and has to get out of there before a garrison of stormtroopers comes in or something. It can't.
Right.
It can never be Vader sensing him, because Vader hasn't felt that since ... Anyway.
Yeah, and I think, as I think about this more, I said before we can't have him leaving world a lot and doing stuff like that, but I think any involvement that he gets himself in, I think will be off world.
It could be.
Because he's not going to want to draw attention
Right.
to Tatooine.
Exactly.
Because Luke is their hope.
Yeah.
And he's not going to want to jeopardize that by drawing a bunch of attention to Tatooine.
Exactly.
But at the same time, any threats that do arrive on Tatooine that could jeopardize them, he will take care of.
Yeah. Yes. And they'll have to be clever with how they do that, and have him dispatch a threat like that.
Yeah.
Because he can't just, lay all of his Force abilities out and risk.
He can't just be a laser sword swinging crazy
Exactly.
to take care of this stuff.
Because all of that kind of stuff right there, that would definitely draw the attention of the Empire. And then he's going to be fighting Inquisitors and all kinds of stuff like that.
So you think, now that I just said that, you think Obi-Wan still has contact with Hondo?
Oh, that would be fabulous, would it not?
Because he might need to use Hondo's talents to sneak him in somewhere and sneak him out of somewhere.
Oh, that would be awesome. I would love to see that in live action.
Another thing we go crazy about on this show, Hondo Ohnaka.
Absolutely.
Such a great character. The bad guy that you love.
Of course. Well, overall, I'd have to say, yes, it's a bummer this got pushed back. It's probably nothing to get too upset about. Hopefully what it means is that we have even better Obi-Wan stories in the future.
Yeah, I think that's the way we have to look at this. This is a series we want.
Absolutely.
This is a film we wanted.
For sure.
But we want it done right. We want them to take the time to do it right. We don't want them to just push something out so they can, feed off that excitement. Especially since you got Ewan confirmed,
Mm-hmm.
To see that they're like, okay, look, we just need to take a step back and make sure we do this right, I think is promising and really is what we want them to do.
Yes.
And you gotta think too, when they started writing this and they started, working on all this stuff, it doesn't seem like they necessarily had like Deborah Chow in mind.
True.
And now they do.
Yeah. And yeah, exactly. I think once all the I's got dotted and the T's got crossed and the whole picture, like production wise, started coming together, maybe then they started realizing, wow, we could do so much more with these stories.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping that we're going to see.
And that's what I'm getting at, because I mean, let's look at what Deborah Chow's done. Wow.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian episodes that were directed by her are just phenomenal.
Yes.
And yeah, all the power is in place, in
Yep.
order to make this the best it can be. You just got to make sure that the foundation is.
Yeah.
So you gotta give directors like that the foundation in order for them to really, really play off their own strength.
Absolutely. Yeah. The more we go down this path in our discussion here, the more I think it's got something to do with all of this that we're talking about. Like, especially after, because the Deborah Chow announcement was more recent than a lot of the other stuff that we've known.
Yeah, way later than the announcement of the series.
Yes. And, probably in talks of what they are planning on doing and what is possible to do, I think they said, okay, now knowing what's possible and where your head's at, Deborah, as a director, we need to go back to the drawing board on these stories a little bit. We need to,
Yeah. Guaranteed. When they wrote these original scripts, Deborah Chow was not in mind.
Right.
Deborah Chow is on this project because of her success in The Mandalorian.
Oh, for sure.
And that decision was probably made before we saw it.
Oh yeah.
But they saw it before we did, so
Of
they
course.
saw what she was doing, and they're like, "Yeah, we got to keep her."
Yes, I'm totally convinced that we're speculating down the right path here.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of probably many factors.
True.
I'm sure there's plenty of other factors involved. Hell, they were probably doing just little table reads and things like that.
Yep.
And we're kind of like, yeah, I don't know. And who knows? It could also have something to do with other actors that they've brought in on the project, and all kinds of things like that.
Yeah. There could be many factors at play that, the main one might be, okay, we gotta reconfigure these stories to fit more what our director wants to do. But there may also be, hey, I want this other actor in on this to play this other extra special part, and their
Right.
schedules aren't lining up. Who knows? It could be all kinds of factors like that.
Which, by all means, listen to your director.
Yeah.
Because, wow.
Exactly. So I think in the long run, we're going to end up with an Obi-Wan Kenobi series that we're going to be happy with. And I would rather they take more time and do it right than throw something together and have us be disappointed.
And the disappointment factor is, it would be catastrophic.
It would be, yes.
This is a character that you cannot afford for this to be in the disappointment category.
Yeah, there is no doubt in what you just said. That is absolutely true.
So this is a delicate story to tell. It's not like The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian, you start off with a clean slate. You can kind of go wherever you want.
Yeah, exactly.
Obi-Wan's already bookended.
Yeah.
You have a before and you have an after. Great care you must take.
Yes.
So, well, all right. If you have anything to add, you can always email us, show@thewarsofmore.com. We'd love to hear from you, unless it's bad. But if it's good, tell us.
Nice. I like it.
But we're also on social media. We're at The Wars and More on Twitter, facebook.com/The Wars and More. You can find all that and all the ways to find the show over at thewarsandmore.com. Any final thoughts this week, Doug? I know we got a bunch of stuff on our sheet here we didn't get to, but
Yeah, we do. I think we can save that for next time. And I love the conversation we had. It was pretty insightful, I think. So
yeah,
that covers it, I think.
All right. We will talk next week.